Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes and I'm here tonight with Kevin Graham to talk about what could rank as one of the best performances overall under Ange Postecoglou. Kevin, I'm not getting overexcited about this. I just think the manner in which we approached this, the manner in which at half-time we didn't panic. We were talking about trusting the process. Ange trusted his own process. And in that second half, we got the breakthrough. At half-time, Kev, we were talking about that moment that we required. It might have been one of these incisive passes. And that's exactly what we got from Jota. Let's enjoy that goal for a few moments before we talk about anything else. Us going ahead 1-0. The pass was absolutely sublime. The work that he did in his own half leading up to the pass was outrageous. Talk to us about that opening goal.
Jota is key to whatever Ange Postecoglou wants Celtic to do. The way that he keeps the ball, the way that he actually brings everybody into play, but the vision for that's the first time, I says at half-time, that was the first time that Friday had got undisciplined. They had left a space behind them. They had moved 7 yards up the park where they shouldn't have been. And Jota had the vision, the skill, the ability to actually play that ball. And Furuhashi realises it as well. He's like, I'm off. That space is there. And if somebody finds me, I'm in. And the finish as well. The finish was cool as anything. It was really... I'm watching it going, take it another couple of touches. No, let's just side foot it into the bottom corner, man. It was like... I noticed Joe Porter says it was sensible soccer. Well, it was probably sensible soccer. But Jota, that you talk about Rogic's ball for Jota on Saturday and that ball tonight. Opened them up completely. And that was the moment we were waiting on. That was the moment we were waiting on. And once we got there, it was then right away. The first thing I wrote down after we got there was mentality. I wanted to see us to have the mentality to see this game out. Missed penalty. I wrote down mentality again. Let's not let the heads go down and let's carry on what we're actually doing. And we've done it. And I do think we've seen a slight... We're inexcitable now. We've got an inexcitable transience about us now where we absolutely control games. And we've done it against Aberdeen. We've done it against Motherwell. And now we've done it tonight where we just seem... Let's control this game and we will take our moment when it actually comes. And that's completely different for the Batman football, the 1960s Batman football we were playing at the start of the season where it was all kapow, smacks in the faces. Like
I was wondering where the Batman was going there, but it makes sense now.
The full boom, like the big cartoon things.
Crash, bang, pow.
Crash, bang, pow, where we're going at everything at 100 miles an hour. There now seems to be... I don't know what it is. We just seem to exist to keep the ball, wear teams down and hopefully create chances. Whereas before we were creating loads of chances and missing them. And we still miss chances today. But I wonder if we've seen, this is not a revolution, I wonder if we've seen an evolution in what Ange's style actually is. Now he's got a core group of players to actually choose from. And a big shout out to big Giacomakis when he came on. They didn't like him, did they? They just did not like him one little bit.
Big physical presence up there, Kev.
It's very, very work in progress, but that's a great result for us where we are. That is a good result for us where we are. And now my mindset's already gone, well, say Betis or Leverkusen won the next two, one of them gets 6 points out the next game. We go to Hungary and beat Ferencváros again. It's 6 points each, setting places up for grabs again. So, it's been a good afternoon.
It has been. I mean, I don't think I'm overreacting, Kev. I think maybe you were able to put into words what I'm actually feeling in terms of there being a game plan, whereas before it was off the cuff. It was spontaneous. It was crash, bang, wallop football. You're absolutely right, and it's far more controlled. I haven't even introduced our third contributor this afternoon in Kevin McCluskey. Kevin, you will realise, if you haven't all realised already, is based in Hungary. He has the inside track on our opponents today. You sent me your thoughts on this game in advance, which basically educated me on Ferencváros and where the team were. When you're looking at that performance, obviously you're a Celtic fan. From a Ferencváros perspective, does that come down to a really well-managed Celtic performance, Kevin, or were you disappointed in Ferencváros this afternoon?
I think there's a bit of both in that, Paul. I think the first 45 minutes, Ferencváros would have been pretty happy with how that game had gone. I felt they managed it quite well. They stopped us from playing in behind them. They gave us a lot of the ball in front of the 18-yard box, but we weren't really able to get in behind all that often, and I felt they were kind of in control of the game to a degree. It was going the way that they would have probably planned that first 45 to go. But we made big changes, I think, to our style in the second half that kind of took the game a bit more to them. Jota getting involved a lot more was hugely influential in the run of the second half. I don't think they had an answer to that. And I think they'll be disappointed that they've let this chance slip, because I think they thought that they could come here and take the 3 points, or at least take a point. So I think they'll go home disappointed, but they'll have enough, or have seen enough, I think, today to give them hope still for the second game in a couple of weeks' time over here.
You know, I was looking at that, and once you say something on a Celtic state of mind, Kev, it's out there forever. You sometimes live to regret it. And I remember when we started seeing Jota, the type of player he was, the kind of effect he was having on games. Obviously, I was lucky enough to be part of that press conference when he joined the club. I was really impressed, and people were saying, you need to temper your enthusiasm here. You know, you've not really seen him playing. And then when he started coming into a game, Kev, I was talking about, and you're always going to get yourself, and this is probably a meme already on the various sites all around, you know, the Rangers fan sites, etc. I started talking about Ginola. Now, what I meant when I was talking about Ginola was the similarities in terms of being able to pick the ball up in a defensive area and turn defence into attack, which I felt David Ginola was a tremendous proponent of. He would get the ball, sometimes at his own corner flag, Kev, and he would turn either with a great turn of pace or just with his skill. He would turn that into an attack somehow. And I had a wee wry smile on my face when that first, in the 56th minute with the opening goal, because that's exactly what Jota did. I mean, where you look at where he's picked that ball up and the speed in which he's managed to turn this completely around and turn the game on its head. Because I agree with Kevin McCluskey. I think at half-time, and we spoke about it, Kev, you know, it's nothing HM. We're kind of like looking at that situation and saying, how do we break them down? Is it going to come from a long-range effort? Well, you know, 10 minutes before the goal, that's exactly what Callum McGregor tried. He tried the long-range effort. Or is it going to come from that moment of magic? And the players that we mentioned are guys like Rogic or Turnbull or Jota. And it so happens that it came from the feet of Jota. I was criticised for being far too positive with my words about Jota, but I'm going to repeat them again tonight. I think that in him and also Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think we've got two low knees that are not stopgaps, Kevin Graham. I think that so far from what I've seen, I would be looking at whatever the options are on getting these guys in. I think they're both the real deal, and I think that they've bought into Angie's system. And certainly in Jota's case, they've bought into Celtic.
You're right there. I'm going to kind of rein in my own horses with the praise of the two of them at the moment. They've, as you say, for two guys that have came in, they've done fantastically well. Big Carter-Vickers, he seems to be, it's a big unit to shift about that park, but he seems to get about. He seems to have a calm head on him, where his partner Starfelt, who had another good game today, but in that last 5 minutes, both of them just seemed to switch off, knowing the game was won. I like the look of Cameron Vickers as well. I do like the look of him. Some people say he looks slow, but I think he makes up with his reading of the game. I think he knows his limitations himself, and his game's built round about those limitations. What I like about him as well, I like about both the centre halves, is for all this, we've got to play the ball from the back, this and that. Both of them will put their laces through the ball when needed now. Before, I don't think that was actually happening. And I think that's maybe a more understanding of what maybe it's just Postecoglou getting his message over more and more now. This is what you were doing at the start of the season was ragged. Now it's controlled because you're now understanding what I actually want. Mm-hmm. And as I say, I'm beginning to think we were maybe sold a wee pup with the 6-0s at the start of the season, because it was that just sort of, let's chuck a shopping trolley down a flight of stairs and see what happens. Now we're actually seeing we're going to control games. We controlled the game in Betis, even though we lost 4 stupid goals. We dominate possession, and it's trust the process, eh? And with guys like Jota and Carter Vickers as well, who's created a couple of goals for us as well with his long balls. But Jota is, when we're trying to break down defences, Jota is the man that we're using more and more. And I don't think it's any surprise that our upturn in fortune is these 2 guys playing well, Cameron Vickers and Jota.
Yeah, there's a few things happened between goal number 1 and the second goal that I want to pinpoint and highlight and discuss. I've got to jump a wee bit forward because you mentioned the fact that Cameron Carter-Vickers doesn't mind knocking it over the top a wee bit. So I'm going to fast forward to 74 minutes. And this is some would maybe say it's anti-football. I don't think it is. Cameron Carter-Vickers picks the ball up. And what he actually does is he aims for the corner flag, right? And we don't actually have anybody to aim for, but he aims for the corner flag and he puts it out to play. But what he's done, right, and it's proven within a few minutes what he's done, he's actually put Ferencváros under a lot of pressure, because a throw-in is actually very difficult in that area of the pitch, because all you need to do is nullify every single option available to Ferencváros. If they lose the ball, then we're in the last third of the pitch, and that's exactly what happened. The throw-in couldn't find a man. We end up winning possession, and we are back on the offensive. So Kevin McCluskey, it's not great to watch. It's not as free-flowing as the 6-0s at home. But you know what? We put them back on the back foot when there were no other options available, and we created an option, and we won back possession within seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It's is it the percentage football they call it? Is it not? Sometimes you've just got to play it long, play it into the corners. We've seen it so many times, trying to play out from the back, and that's been our downfall. It's a silly pass, a slick pass, we give it away. There's too many little triangle passes, we don't actually progress up the field. If you've got the back to the wall every now and again, just get it forward, get it in a corner, turn them, put them in a difficult position. And like you say, with a throw-in, they're not likely to get the yardage back up the field if you're able to close off all their options. Then you start your high press again, and you're able to win the ball back and play the football further up the field. So it's something that we haven't done enough, I don't think. We've tried to play football too often at times to our disadvantage. So why not every now and again mix it up, put it long, take us up the field and get us out of trouble?
Definitely. I mean, you missed a trick there as well, Kevin, talking about the Batman football, because one of the cartoon words would have been wham when we're talking about Jota, but keep that one under your hat. So between goal number 1 and the second goal, 2, I think, pivotal moments happen in the game. Kevin was talking about mentality before. Now, they go up the park 2 minutes after we've opened the scoring. The ball comes in at pace, and it was a carbon copy almost of the game against Alkmaar, Kevin Graham, where Tony Ralston somehow gets across the man, and it's an important moment of the game, because if Ferencváros score an equaliser at that moment, the whole momentum is lost. It's back to the drawing board. But that was so important, and we spoke before the game about Tony Ralston, his importance to the club, where he is in the pecking order, his deficiencies. But I think also you've got to give him credit for that. I mean, that's the second time he's done that in Europe as well, Kev.
I'll give Tony Ralston all the credit under the sun for the 2 saving challenges that he's had this season. I'll give Tony Ralston all the credit. He's never let us down when we've asked him to do stuff that he's probably uncomfortable doing. And he never let us down today. And either did Montgomery. I think with Montgomery, we got exactly what Ange asked him to actually do. Give me 70 minutes and we'll see how it goes. And he done that. But Tony Ralston has been fantastic for us. And what you were actually saying, would you be happy as Ralston as backup? I think Ralston's maybe deserved to be backup But I'm still. We have to do better in that position. But we're talking about the game. We're talking about the here and now. Anthony Ralston hasn't let us down this season, and he kept our mentality going with that winning, with that challenge to stop that going in. And the way that he got up and he could actually see Hart was patting him on the head and all of that as well. They understood how important that challenge is. That is a big moment in the game. That is another moment. If you say if that goes in, we can then maybe question how's their mentality going to be. It didn't go in. Our mentality grew for that. We saw the game out. We got a second goal later on, which basically killed the tie. I think Postecoglou will be over the moon with that performance tonight. But he'll know there's still places we can improve. There is still places we can improve. Unfortunately for Anthony Ralston, he's one of them. Montgomery's another one. But if you're asking me, on that 90 minutes, both of them were fantastic.
Well, again, at half-time, we were talking about Montgomery, the fact that he looked a wee bit jaded, etc., Kevin, but with the caveat of the fact that he's probably not 100% fit. The one thing we spoke about at half-time is get him on the overlap. The first time I seen him doing it tonight, he wins a penalty kick. But I'll come over to yourself, Kevin McCluskey. He wins the penalty kick. It's missed by Callum McGregor. But how on earth could you be angry or annoyed with Callum McGregor when you remove that penalty miss out of the game tonight? He was all over the park.
I don't think you can be angry with McGregor. I'd like to go back though to what Kev was saying about the mentality there as well with Ralston. You'll notice in the first half when Kyogo went down under Sammy May's tackle.
Yeah.
And Ralston's the first player in the scene. And he's always the first player in the scene when he's there. And he's the one that gets everyone else up for it. He's got that kind of winning mentality, and he must be the perfect teammate. The thing, if the chips are down, Ralston's the one that's there to get boys back up. Whether he is good enough long term to be the right back, probably not. But for now, he's doing the things that we need him to be doing. But yeah, on McGregor, he's kind of the one player that kind of gets a pass on these things because he's so consistent. He's got the mentality. He's missed the penalty, but he picks himself back up. He doesn't let that bother him, and he kind of bosses the rest of the game again. So, there's definitely no hard feelings on him for that one, and he obviously gets away with it in the end because we win the game 2-0. You might have a different story if we don't win the game, but he's got away with it, and he deserves that one, I think.
Yeah, I think we can forgive him. Now, that's a great point, actually, on the point of Ralston, because, when Turnbull messed up against Leverkusen, the first player over to him to pull him up to his feet is Tony Ralston. And like you say, sometimes when you need that backup, he's not the guy standing holding the jackets. He's writing about him. Yeah, he took a booking, but, he was writing about the guy. So, fair play to Tony Ralston. The other thing I want to mention, because... Sorry, Kev.
Sorry, Paul, I'll just jump in there about Ralston. I can, if he could play in a number of positions, you can see him staying at the club as a sort of, I know James Milner's 34, but James Milner appears at right back for Liverpool, right-hand side of midfield for Liverpool, when they need to actually swap things up because he's got that leadership as well. And Ralston, what will maybe save Ralston from, extending his Celtic career is what Kevin's pointed out, what you've pointed out, those last-ditch tackles and the fact that he's got a bit of leadership about him. Postecoglou might look at him and go, in certain games and domestically, I can use you and and I can trust you. And if you're sitting looking at a bean counter point of view, he wouldn't be too expensive to keep on as a backup.
The big thing, what he has done, Kev, I remember mentioning him. He came in out of the cold, remember, for the post-Dubai game where we barely had a first team. I think it was Livingston he played. And after the game, because obviously we cover all the games, I said he's probably the best player on the park. Mm-hmm. And there was a deluge of criticism. How dare you praise Tony Ralston almost? But one thing that he has done is he's turned a lot of people's opinions around. We now know that there is a player there. Whether or not he's the level of player that we need, that's up for debate. But when you look at the fact that over a 5-year period, and he had played 30 games under 5 different managers when Postecoglou comes in, the mental fortitude required to actually be a professional and continue to do what you were asked to do whenever you were required, just to be thrown back on the scrap heap. I praise Tony Ralston tonight. I just think, well done for, your professionalism. And, he's had a decent game tonight. And we've seen a few decent games from him this season. And long may that continue whilst he's in the right back position. We score the second goal. But before we do that, we bring on in 70 minutes, Giakoumakis. And he gives us something completely different. And I've actually put it here, Kevin, you called it substitution. Giakoumakis for Abada and putting Kyogo out wide right. That's exactly what you said should happen at half-time, and that's what happened. What does he give you that's different than what we had up there? Because Kyogo gives you something completely different, but Giakoumakis comes in, he's got a physical presence, he puts himself about, he's not scared to come back deep to win the ball, and as you said, Ferencváros were uncomfortable playing against them.
He allows us to hold the ball up when we want to try and get out. And as you say, it's a different proposition to Kyogo through the middle, because he wants to come short, he wants to hold the ball up. You saw it in the box when the cross came over and he chased it. The defender couldn't get round him because he's just a big physical presence. And it's something that we haven't got. And I think when we signed him, people were going, well, where is he going to sign? Where is he going to play? And I think today you saw exactly what he's going to bring to the Celtic team. You'll see him coming on in games when Kyogo's not working through the middle, and he'll give you that different option. Mm-hmm. You might also see him on Saturday against St Johnstone getting a start if Kyogo needs a bit of a rest, or they can maybe move Kyogo out wide because St Johnstone are going to come in and sit deep, and he maybe allows that ball, that focus ball into the box. I noticed some of the comments saying he looks like Big Van Hooijdonk in his sort of running style and a big sort of. I haven't seen that. Hopefully he scores free kicks and goals like Van Hooijdonk. I'm going to absolutely love that. But what I was really impressed with tonight was Ferencváros couldn't handle him when he came on. They just couldn't. It was a different option for Celtic to actually continue their constant pressure that they had, and he did impress. Like a lot of the players tonight, he did impress. So I want to see more of him. I want to see him against a Scottish defence. I want to see him score goals. He's a Celtic striker. Your currency is goals, but he's made a decent start tonight. He has made a decent start tonight.
It leads us on to the question. I mean, it was a double substitution on 70 minutes. We know that when Scales comes on, it's through necessity because Monty at that point is absolutely knackered, and he started losing the ball. 75 minutes in, and he's done his job, hasn't he? He's won a penalty as well. But you look at the substitution. Giakoumakis comes off for Abada, Beaton comes off for Rogic. So both substitutions, it's not like for like, which was a massive criticism under Neil Lennon, wasn't it, Kevin McCluskey? I mean, you could call just about every substitution and the minute it was going to happen. And it was always like for like. Now, it's not working, but we'll just continue with a different body in the same position. I was quite impressed with the changes that were made tonight by Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I think he's improving with these substitutions, I think you'd say. And it was maybe a bit of kind of that Lennon thing of not having anyone else on the bench, and that's why at times Postecoglou's changes were be like for like to begin with, or he just wasn't making a change because he didn't have the personnel to come on. But I think we've seen in the last few games, like Kev alluded to at the start, it's not the revolution anymore, it's an evolution. And he's brought in Beaton for the game against Aberdeen. We need that bit of physicality in the midfield for that game. He's seen it tonight that we need someone else in the midfield to help shore it up. Beaton's the man to come in. He's more reliable in these games than Soro. That's a strange thing to say that Beaton's a reliable one, but he is in this case, I think. And again, with Giakoumakis, he's seen that we need a different option up front. Abada's not working. There's no point in doing a like-for-like change there because they kind of sussed out what we're doing down the right-hand side. So change it up, give them another threat, another option to think about. And yeah, his substitutions today were really good. I think they were spot on. And
fair play to him.
Yeah, I think a point as well to make on the level of player that we were able to bring on tonight. We've not had that pretty much all season. The game-changing sub. And Ferencváros aren't used to that either in the domestic league here. they're streets ahead of everyone else. And it is the case that if a team makes a substitution here, it's a like for like, but the quality goes down. There's no one really comes on to influence the game and change the game. So they're not used to that level either. Actually, the sub coming on being good enough to start the game and good enough to have that kind of impact, you can change it and really influence the match.
Well, I think the proof was in the pudding tonight. So we make the changes in 70 minutes, 10 minutes later, we wrap the game up. And in actual fact, we probably should have scored another two. There were two chances we should have scored. I've got noted here David Turnbull and Jota. What I've also got noted is, and I do this for every single game, heart and mouth, because every so often in a game, there is a heart and mouth moment. It wasn't caused by Joe Hart. He saved Starfelt's blushes. But, people are going to say, well, don't moan. It's a great win. And it is a great win. But we said at the beginning of the game, Kevin Graham, how many times do we have to have the heart in the mouth? Thankfully, Joe Hart saved his blushes. And I thought up to that point, like you said earlier on, Starfelt was composed. He's building a really kind of confident partnership with Cameron Carter-Vickers. But just that one moment, and we really need to eradicate that from our play, Kev, because if you're 1-0 up at that time of the game and we lose that goal, we are sitting here cursing Starfelt. Thankfully, Joe Hart got him out of jail tonight.
And definitely, it's something that both of them have got to. It's definitely a concentration thing with both of them, especially Starfelt. He seems to have one Effie Ambrose mistaking him every single game that he plays, and it's something. It's all just down to concentration. It's not down to ability. It's just he sometimes just seems to get lost, as if to go, what am I meant to do here? And we do have to actually get rid of that. But overall, their defending has improved, and we've got to focus on that as well. I'm sure Postecoglou is telling them, by the way, you need to concentrate for 90 minutes. The camera panned to him on the touchline with about 2 minutes to go, and you could see that he wasn't happy with the drop-off in intensity with the team. You could see him; he was still telling the team to keep on going. I mean, so it's they are our partnership now. They will be our partnership until the Christopher Julien's question gets answered. Is he going to come back the exact same player? But at the moment, they two have built up a decent partnership. It's only going to get better. That will benefit from the night. As Kevin says, Friday fancied their chances coming to Celtic Park. They're going to go away disappointed. We got a clean sheet against them. For me, we dominated the game against them. And I think that will give the team massive confidence going forward, especially the back two.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 clean sheets in a row. It's as satisfied as I've been with a victory under Ange Postecoglou. I think at the top of the show I said that's our best performance. It's maybe not our best performance, but that's certainly as satisfied as I've been since Ange Postecoglou has come in. Joe Porter, I'm never going to overlook an opportunity for a 1990s Commodore Amiga reference. So that pass from Jota certainly was straight out of Sensible Soccer. And Autumn Glow, can someone make a gif of Andy's reaction to the second goal? I hope they do, because that kind of technicality is beyond me. But I would certainly use that. And I think that also what we need to look at is the performance of 2 men who are definite kind of game changers and match winners, who tonight maybe didn't play in their usual style, but David Turnbull scores an all-important second goal, and Kyogo scores the first, even though he was a wee bit quieter than we would expect. But it shows just how important they are, Kevin, Graham, that these guys maybe don't play to their absolute optimum tonight, yet they're game changers.
Definitely, and it's sometimes fans get frustrated of why these players get left on the pitch, and there's a reason. And Kyogo and especially Turnbull get left on the pitch because he can appear in the box like that. Now we can laugh at his miss-hit now, but since it ended up in the back of the net. But at the time, I was fuming when he swung his leg at it. I'm going, what's that? This is a chance to put the game to bed. And Giakoumakis behind him as well. His face was going, what's going on here, eh? Lucky enough, it went into the back of the net. He had another decent chance straight after it as well. So this is why Turnbull stays on, and that's why Rogic goes off. I says in the pre-game as well, Ange Postecoglou understands that Turnbull and Rogic can add so much to that Celtic team, but their physicality is a problem. Their physical fitness is a problem, and he wants to start rotating them. But I thought he was proven tonight that he made the correct decision leaving Turnbull on, even though Turnbull maybe didn't have, once again, his most spectacular game in a Celtic jersey. He's turned up with, I'm giving him the goal. He turned up with a goal, got us a second goal, big moment again, 3 points in the Europa League. Hey, we can't ask anything else, man. We
cannot. And the final comment comes in from AJ SC Technology Videos, who's pointing out that, it probably was some fatigue setting in the last 5 minutes, but all the hard work had been done by then, so we can forgive that wee mistake near the end. And, I've got to thank everybody for tuning in today. Over 1,200 live, which is a phenomenal response from the ACSOM audience. Thank you so much for that. And as you know, we're going to have to update the background to this particular screen because we have another few awards in there, so we will get that updated. Thank you so much for putting us in a position to go down to London and collect those awards, every single one of you. You've been tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn and Twitter. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. You will be in a free prize draw for a signed and framed at Bobby Lennox print. All that's left for me to say tonight is thank you to the two Kevins, McCluskey and Graham, and thank you all for tuning in to A Celtic State of Mind.
Thanks, everyone.